Hello and welcome to Knife Delights. I have a fantastic knife here to review today. I got this knife several weeks ago now in an antique store. I've been wanting to do the review on it, but I got to tell you, as a avid knife collector and someone that just loves history, when the two worlds collide, it is very special for me. It's very delightful. And I held off on doing this review because I had to be, I guess, in the right frame of mind. I have so much respect for this piece of cutlery I'm holding in my hands. There's almost a reverence to it. This is a Marbles Woodcraft model knife. And as we just, take a glance at it here, I mean, just look at this blade. This was designed as a skinning knife for big game, processing big game. This nice wide belly here. Unfortunately, it does have a little bit of a broken tip there, but this knife was really used. Now, why do I have so much respect for this knife? Well, this knife is over 100 years old. This knife was made in 1915. This knife was first designed in about 1914, and it was claimed that George W. Brooks, who was a writer, that he actually designed it, although I guess Marbles never really gave him the credit. But there's weird features to this here, such as the handle. When this knife first came out, and this is one of the very first versions of it, it had a 3 1/4 inch handle. Now this has stag, so it might be this closer to 3 1/2 here. Perhaps if it had the steel or aluminum pommel to it, it was 3 1/4. But I guess this writer believed that for a Skinner knife you should have a small handle, and that you should always be choking up and using it up close. And look at the jimping on that. What do you want to call that? Like a checkered? Boy, is that nice. Boy, is that nice. This knife is interesting also because it has a stag handle or a stag pommel, and then it's wrapped in leather. Now again, Marbles was the first knife company to come out with stacked leather handles. As a matter of fact, all these hunting knives, the modern hunting knives, the K-bar fighting knives, all of those, all were copies of Marbles design knives. The fighting knife was based on Marbles' Ideal knife, and the Ideal knife was the first what we would call modern hunting knife design, and it was copied by cutlery makers around the world. Yeah. But there was a complaint. There was a complaint about the Ideal because some thought it wasn't ideal. And there was a man by the name of... Oh, I don't have his name. But anyway, there was a writer that said the common mistake among amateur hunters is that buying too heavy of a knife with too thick a blade. Unless you expect to indulge in hand-to-hand conflicts or cut brush, such a weapon is excessive. He proclaimed a butcher knife of good make is one of the best and cheapest of sheath knives. His opinion was shared by most other wood-wise campers. So, that is one of the reasons why Marbles then came out with the Woodcraft knife. Now, again, they applied for a patent on this knife in 1915, and May 22nd of 1915, and the patent was issued February 22nd, 1916. So another reason this is such an awesome find here is we look down there on the tang stand, on the reverse side, it says patent pending. So that means this was made in 1915, one of the very first early models of this knife. That is why I get such a kick, such a delight out of holding such a historical knife. Look at the little small brass guard here. They didn't want big guards when you're skinning because you didn't want the guard to get in the way. And yes, you know, when you're skinning, you want to be able to choke way up on your knife, you know, as you're pulling the hide back and get down in there. Interesting enough, this knife was adopted by well, a version of it anyway was an official Boy Scout knife. And it was from 1933 to 1940. This knife has been copied many times over. As a matter of fact, as a buck knife collector, I had just found out while researching for this that Buck, through Cabela's, had a special issue of this knife, Buck model 914. And I believe that came out in around 1992. So now, as a buck collector, I got to get out there and try to find that pretty rare knife. I don't think a lot of them were made. Also, Tops Knives has come out with a modern version and replica of this knife because it's such a great design. Yep, we got a 4.5-inch blade on here. What's our overall length? Right at 8 inches. And I'm not going to weigh it. There's a little bit of dirt and grime down in here. My dilemma is, you know, I like to restore knives and make them nice and shiny and try to make them look brand new again. I don't know what to do with this knife. As a matter of fact, leave me a comment below what you think. I want to leave, my thoughts are just leaving this knife as is pretty much. I want to do a little cleaning of some stuff down in here and kind of clean that out just a little bit, because you can barely read the Marbles Tang stamp, but it's there. I thought about, you know, reprofiling the blade and getting a point back to it, but there's no way to do that. Even by, you know, cutting down here just a little bit, you're essentially modifying the blade shape. To me, this is like a museum piece. And, you know, as you go into the museums, they might do some light cleaning like what I've proposed doing here and cleaning that out just a little bit. But they don't do full restorations on knives. And since it's, like I said, one of the very first issues are produced in 1915, I would hate to even alter it that much, and perhaps this leaves it some character and shows that this knife was used. You can tell by the scratches in the blade, this knife was used. So I don't know, what are your thoughts? Let me know. Let's see if we can't just clean that out down there just a little bit. See if I can't get rid of some of that stuff. Just this little bit of stuff down here so I can read that better. See what happens here. Yep. There, now you can see that patent pending just a little better. Let's just try over here a little bit. See if I can get just a little bit of that stuff off without, you know, making it look like I cleaned it off. Just, I mean, look at the patina. Everyone talks about Tina or Pertina, or I don't know why everyone talks about Tina and they don't talk about Mary, but they talk about Tina a lot. I don't know. But, yeah. In a way, I just want to leave that there. It really shows the age of the knife, doesn't it? Let's see what I can get off here. Just wanted to make that tang stamp a little better readable. Gladstone. Marbles, Gladstone, Michigan, USA. Yeah. Folks, tell me what do you think? Do you like these historical knives? See the little stuff with there on the blade. Do I take that off? Do I just leave it as is? Kind of a dilemma for me. But I just wanted to share this. Marbles has such a fascinating history. A lot of famous people carried marble fixed blade knives. Charles Lindbergh had one in his famous solo flight. I guess that knife is in the Smithsonian Institute. I guess people like Teddy Roosevelt carried one. Such a history to this knife. We got some micarta spacers in there. You got a red micarta, and then as you can see, there's like a little piece of green micarta there. And there's some red and that bluish green type spacer in there. Look at the leather. For over 100-year-old knife. Look at the leather on this. It is still tight. You talk about quality. And how gorgeous is this pommel? A stag pommel. And as you can see, they kind of shaped it like the ideal knife pommel. Man, I'm holding some history here. I wish knives could talk. I wish I knew how much game was processed, or you know, wood carving, camp chores, whatever. Look up here, we got this beautiful swedge coming down here. Yeah, folks, I'm rambling here just a little bit. I'm just really at a loss of words on how to describe this knife and what it means to me to be able to hold such a historic knife in my hands. Unfortunately, it did not come with a sheath, but I paid $15. $15 for this knife. I saw it in the antique store in the showcase and asked them to pull it out. And when I saw marbles on there, I took it. You can see, look at how chewed up that blade is there. Yeah. I don't know. Let me know, folks. Should I try to do a full restoration on it and put a point back on it, which would alter the blade shape, even though it would alter it ever so slightly? Or do I leave it in like what I call museum condition? I really don't know what to do. What a wonderful knife. Now this little short handle, I know on later models they did end up making them just a little longer, probably due to customer demand. But oh boy. Oh boy. I hope you get as much delight and pleasure out of this as I did. Please leave me a comment. And folks, if you would, please hit that like button. It sure helps me with the YouTube algorithm and helps the channel grow. Yeah, thanks for joining me here today. Sorry if this isn't my best review. I'm just speechless. I just don't know what to say without droning on and on and on. But anyway, until next time, everyone, have a very delightful day.